So, hello, I'm back here going to talk about American domestic politics and talk about the implosion of MAGA. It's starting to happen in real time. So, I was talking about the implosion of MAGA in real time, and there are some influencers on the right that are now out there saying that telling Republicans to don't bother voting, Trump is a fraud, Trump is a con, the Republican Party sold him out, the value of the dollar has not gone up, it's gone down, economy sucks. So these are things they're all mad about. Okay. You probably know one of the influencers really well. It's Nick Fuentes. There's another one here I have to look more up about. I don't know a lot about him, but there's another one they were quoting each other in a lot of ways, but they remind me of Jimmy Dore back in 2018 when he cosplayed as the left and effectively tried to use his platform to destroy the left, saying that the Democrats were more of the problem than Republicans and that they're not progressive enough and therefore they need to just get rid of the whole Democratic Party. And I feel like that's what Nick Fuentes is doing to the Republican Party, but going further, he's literally saying blow the whole party up. Okay. And I'll show you a highlight example in this video about Nick Fuentes and how he's basically screaming from the rooftops that the Republicans are cons, basically Republicans. It's a joke I'd make, but they didn't do anything to make quality of their life better. But here's their argument that's crazy. And this is why I say it's similar to Jimmy Dore's. Because Jimmy Dore, it's similar because it turns out Jimmy Dore was never really a Democrat. He was a conspiracy theorist conservative, kind of like Alex Jones and Candace Owens kind of character, who cosplayed as a far leftist. Okay. And he advocated for progressivism, but in a very populist way, only focused on class reduction politics, but would completely he would completely discourage any other wing progressive movement on the left. He would dismiss anything of concern outside of class reduction politics. And it turned out Jimmy Dore was not a far leftist at all, though. He cosplayed as one. And then he started going to the right. Then he was a big Tulsi stand for a while. So eventually he just grifted to the far right. You don't even hear about him anymore. He's basically running his own little thing in the far right corner sphere of conspiracy theories and all that crap. What you know it, you know. Basically going to the level of an Alex Jones. So Nick Fuentes kind of has been there, and he's on the right. But Nick Fuentes, I sometimes believe he's doing something similar to Jimmy Dore. I don't know if Nick Fuentes is actually a Republican. A part of me thinks he's not. I think this is all an act to him. Okay? And I will show you an example in a video here about Nick Fuentes technically destroying and undermining the Republican Party and their quote-unquote conservative movement. And again, the Republican Party, I've said this before, you welcomed a lot of grifters. Congratulations. You got a lot of grifters in your party. You're starting to find out the repercussions right now. Because not only did you not deliver on your promises to the party, along with Donald Trump, and you're spending all that time enriching your guys' self in the government, you're losing the influencers you had supporting you. And they're telling their millions of listeners not to vote for you guys. And if you don't think that has any effect, you obviously haven't been paying attention to elections. Okay? So, because the difference between Nick Fuentes and Jimmy Dore is a lot of people on the left did not like Jimmy Dore, even though he was popular. He did divide the party, but a lot of people on the left did not trust him. Okay? A lot of people on the right listen to Nick Fuentes. He's very influential in right-wing circles. So he can affect some wings of the Republican Party's politics, especially at the electoral sense. Just like all these podcasters, they helped your guy Trump win. They had their hand in helping Trump win. Now the fact that they're not in Trump's corner anymore does have a damaging effect on the GOP, because that doesn't necessarily translate to the Republican Party as a whole. Yeah, they back Trump. Now they don't like Trump. The only people still with him is maybe the Joe Rogans and the far right podcasters. That's about it. Everybody else has jumped ship. They're done. So, all the other podcasters that were in that corner are gone. They had a lot of influence on how people voted, though. So if they're saying they're done with this, you're in trouble. And you got somebody like Nick Fuentes basically sabotaging the Republican Party at every end. Because him and Candace Owens care less about the Republicans winning. They don't care. They made their money. They're doing their thing. They know people are frustrated. They're feeding and pouncing on that frustration right now. All right. So I'm going to show you guys a clip real quick here to give you a glimpse of what's going on. But again, they might be just cosplaying on the right. They might not actually be right. They might not actually be conservatives. I honest to God don't even know what a conservative is anymore. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what they stand for. I don't know what they are anymore. They've effectively lost sight of who they are joining Team MAGA. It's become such a far fringe cult that I really think a lot of people lost ground of who they are and what they believe. Okay? I don't think they believe anything anymore. I think they're as empty of a vessel as the Democratic Party. The Republican Party is just as empty, if not more so. And they appease the forces now that are effectively destroying the infrastructure they spent decades building. Okay. But again, cults die hard, man. I could have told you that. And I predicted this years ago this was going to happen. Like, people sit here and go, oh, the Republicans are going to win forever. No, they're not. There was going to be an expiration date for the Republican Party. It's about now. Because I want to remind people, when they won back seats, they didn't win back as many seats as they have in the past. I lived through a decade where Republicans had control of every branch of government except the presidency. Okay? Through the 2010s, they won everything. All right. They had such a stronghold in power for so long, especially at the local level. Now it's the Democrats that have it. After 2018, when the Democrats took back all those seats, the Republicans never gained back what they lost. Even when they won back seats in 2022 and in 2020, they picked up a few back in 2020. They picked up a few in 2022, a few more in 2022. They picked up one or two in 2024. But at the end of the day, they're not where they were. Matter of fact, in some areas, they lost ground. So the infrastructure's falling apart. Okay. They built their party on a cult. Now they invited a whole bunch of grifters into their party that are a bunch of self-enriching billionaires and self-interested influencers and corporate and foreign donors, foreign billionaires. All these people are grifters. They're going to destroy the Republican Party. They're doing it. It ain't even the left. So everybody's sitting on the left. The left ain't doing it. The left is just trying to win back their power like anybody else does when they're out of power. But the right is doing it to themselves. And you can see it for yourself. So I'm going to show you a clip real quick here of what I'm talking about. All right. I'll see y'all later. Have a great night. Have a great day. Goodbye. And all I got to say is it's a good thing this is happening. Not only because the left needs to win back power, real populism, to save our country, but the other good part about this is it's a chance for the other side to get their act together and clean up. Okay, and it's going to take massive losses for them to do it. And they're going to figure out who's genuine about building power and who is just destroying it for their own gain. So that's simple. Light clears out the darkness, and light is what we need to see everything that's going wrong in our government. All right. See y'all later. Have a great night. Love y'all. Bye.